An old argument, one that had always simmered beneath the surface, finally erupted. The words, sharp and venomous, still echoed in my head as I slammed the car door and walked toward the familiar embrace of the trees. This forest had been my refuge since childhood. It was a place of deep silence, where the only judgments came from the rustling of leaves and the calm, indifferent gaze of ancient oaks. This was where I came to outrun my demons, and today they were nipping at my heels. I walked for hours, not on any particular path, but guided by an inner compass honed over decades of wandering these woods. The anger that had driven me from home began to cool, replaced by the familiar earthy smell of damp soil and rotting leaves. The setting sun filtered through the treetops in shades of orange and purple, painting the forest floor in a mosaic of light and shadow. Only then did I realize I had strayed from the right spot. The trees were thicker here, the undergrowth thicker. A small, unwelcome twinge of anxiety shot through my stomach. I was disoriented, a feeling I hadn't felt in these woods since I was a child. I wasn't really worried, though. I knew the terrain, the general direction of the road. I turned, my boots crunching on dry leaves, and began what I thought was the path back to my car. That's when I heard it. One sharp sound, the snap of a branch snapping under the pressure. It was close. I froze, every muscle tense, and listened. The forest seemed to hold its breath with me. Nothing, just the soft sigh of the wind through the pines. The animal, deer or fox, I told myself. I relaxed my shoulders and started walking again, a little faster this time. A few minutes later, it came again. A soft, rhythmic crunch, crunch, crunch. It was the sound of footsteps, deliberate and even, trying to match my own. My heart began to pound in my ribs. I stopped, and the footsteps fell silent. I started moving again, and so did they. It was not an animal. A cold, slippery, oily horror gripped me. Someone was watching me. My thoughts raced. Who could be here so deep in the forest at this hour? A hunter? A lost hiker? Rational explanations seemed weak, unconvincing. The feeling of being watched, the feeling of being prey was primal and overwhelming. I abandoned any pretense of calm and broke into a run, breathing hard. I fought my way through thorny bushes that tore at my clothes and skin, leaped over fallen logs, thinking only of getting away from the relentless footsteps behind me. The forest, my lifelong friend, turned against me. The familiar trees now seemed a menacing, tangled maze, their branches reaching out to me like skeletal arms. The pursuit was relentless. I could hear them coming closer, the crunch of leaves coming closer, more frantic. I risked a glance over my shoulder, but saw nothing but thicker shadows. Then my foot caught on a bare root and I fell hard, the impact taking my breath away. I lay there, gasping for air, my face pressed to the ground, tasting blood and fear. And then, silence. The footsteps disappeared. The sudden absence of sound was more terrifying than the chase itself. I slowly stood up, my body screaming in protest, and listened. The silence stretched, tense and suffocating. I was a mouse in a dark room, knowing that the cat was somewhere out there waiting. "Who's there?" I called out in a pitiful, trembling voice. The only answer was the rustling of leaves in the trees as a light breeze swept through. I scrambled to my feet, every nerve on edge. I had to keep moving, but the thought of running again, of hearing the chase begin again, paralyzed me. I began to walk, slowly, deliberately, trying to make as little noise as possible, constantly scanning the forest around me. It seemed like an eternity before I saw it, a faint flickering light through the trees. Hope, fierce and desperate, pierced me. A house, a campsite, whatever.
I stumbled toward it, thorns and branches tearing at me, my eyes locked on this tiny beacon of salvation. It was a cabin, small and neglected, nestled in a clearing I had never seen before. A wisp of smoke curled lazily from its stone chimney, and the warm yellow light of a lantern shone from its single window. I hesitantly approached. The place looked old, from a forgotten time, but someone was clearly inside. The front door was slightly ajar, a silent invitation. "Hello?" I called out in a hoarse voice. "Is anyone there?" No answer. With my heart pounding wildly in my ribs, I opened the door and stepped inside. The air was thick with smoke and something else, something sweet and familiar, like cinnamon and cloves. A fire crackled merrily in the large stone fireplace, casting dancing shadows across the room. The cabin was rustic, but clean and well kept. A simple wooden table stood in the middle, with 2 chairs on either side. A collection of objects was neatly arranged on a small mantelpiece above the fireplace. My gaze was drawn to a small framed photograph. A strange sense of déjà vu came over me. As I moved closer, my blood ran cold. It was a photograph of my wife and I, taken on our wedding day, laughing, her head thrown back as I hugged her tightly. How is this possible? I have never been here. I have never seen this cabin. My mind struggled to make sense of the impossible reality before me. I felt dizzy, as if the very ground beneath my feet had become unstable. Then the floor creaked behind me. I turned, my heart pounding in my throat. She was standing in the doorway, her silhouette silhouetted against the last remnants of dusk. My wife. "I was so worried," she said, her voice quiet but with an unsettling calm that didn't fit the situation. "When you didn't come back, I knew you'd be here." Relief and confusion fought within me. "How did you find me? What kind of place is this?" "Our place," she said, stepping inside and letting the door close behind her. It closed with a heavy, final thud. "I found this a few months ago. I'm fixing it up. For us." I looked at her, at the carefree smile on her face, and the pieces began to fall into place, forming a picture I didn't want to see. Our fight wasn't the worst, not at all, but I ran, as she knew. I ran to my refuge, the forest. "Footsteps," I whispered, realizing it like a cold, gray morning. "It was you. You were following me." She smiled wider, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I'm not following you, love. I'm guiding you. You're so lost in your own head here. I just wanted to make sure you found your way home." I looked at the table. Next to the thermos and the neatly folded map of the forest lay a bunch of keys. My keys. The ones I'd left in the ignition of the locked car. She had been here the whole time. She watched me come. She waited until I was deep in the forest, and then she began her game, chasing me like a frightened animal through the darkness, driving me fearfully toward this cozy, perfect little trap she had built. You see, out there in the other world, we fall apart. There are too many distractions, too many people pulling us in different directions. But here, we can be together. Just us. No arguing, no running away. We can finally have the peace we deserve. I looked from her calm face to the heavy wooden block she had just pushed through the door. I looked at the windows, which I now saw were boarded up from the outside, and I understood. The chase through the forest was over, but my ordeal had only begun. The forest, my sanctuary, was now the wall of my prison, and the woman I loved was my warden. The silence I had once sought was now my sentence, stretching before me into an unknown and terrible future.
If you like the story, click like. If you have an incredible travel story, share it in the comments. To continue the journey with us, simply subscribe to the channel.